Bayern Munich's transfer window this summer has been marked by inconsistency and setbacks, with the club struggling to land its top targets and only managing to finalize one major signing so far. After missing out on several preferred players, the German champions eventually secured the services of Colombian winger Luis Diaz from Liverpool, though the deal came at a high cost. This signing sparked hope among fans for more additions, but internal decisions at the club suggest that expectations for further arrivals may need to be tempered. Recent reports from Bild indicate that Bayern's top executives met last weekend at their Säbener headquarters to discuss the club's transfer strategy for the remainder of the window. Present at the meeting were CEO Jan-Christian Driessen, Supervisory Board Chairman Herbert Hainer, and sporting directors Max Eberl and Christoph Freund. The consensus reached was that there is currently no pressing need for additional signings, and the club will not pursue further deals unless certain conditions change. This reflects a shift from the more aggressive stance taken earlier in the window, particularly with the Diaz transfer. The leadership is not entirely ruling out the possibility of more transfers, but they've made it clear that any new acquisitions will depend heavily on player sales or specific circumstances. In contrast to their big money move for Diaz, the club does not intend to make another expensive purchase in the near future. One player still on their radar is Stuttgart's Nick Woltemade. Bayern has set aside a separate budget for the 23-year-old forward, but they will only move forward with the deal if Stuttgart is willing to agree to their terms. So far, Stuttgart has held firm, and there have been no formal negotiations or meetings between the two clubs. This cautious approach comes after a season that saw Bayern reclaim the Bundesliga title, yet fall short in the Champions League, exiting in the quarter-finals at the hands of Inter Milan. While the domestic triumph was a positive, their European campaign exposed weaknesses, particularly in terms of depth and defensive reliability. Injuries and inconsistent performances across the backline plagued them last season. To address some of these issues, Bayern has signed Jonathan Tah on a free transfer from Bayer Leverkusen, but this alone may not be sufficient to shore up their defense. In the fullback positions, questions remain, particularly at right back, where Sacha Boey has yet to prove himself as a dependable starter, though it appears the club will move forward with him for now. In midfield, Bayern is also facing uncertainty following João Paulina's departure. With Jamal Musiala sidelined due to injury, much responsibility is expected to fall on the shoulders of newcomer Tom Bischoff and academy product Paul Warner. While both players show promise, relying on such inexperienced talents for a club of Bayern's stature carries risks, especially if injuries persist. Offensively, Bayern lacks a true backup striker for Harry Kane. While players like Diaz and Serge Gnabry may be capable of filling in temporarily, neither is a natural center forward, and the team could struggle in Kane's absence. Additionally, the departure of longtime club icon Thomas Müller has left a significant void in both leadership and creativity on the pitch. Despite this, the club has shown little urgency in securing a direct replacement. There is some belief within the club that Nick Woltemade could eventually fill that role, but negotiations remain stalled, and Stuttgart's valuation of the player remains a sticking point. Until an agreement is reached, Bayern must cope with what appears to be an incomplete squad. Heading into the new season, Bayern Munich finds itself in a precarious position. Despite retaining their domestic crown, the squad still has several critical gaps across various areas of the pitch. A few injuries to key players could have a serious impact on their campaign, making the current lack of transfer activity a gamble. With expectations always high at a club of Bayern's stature, the pressure will be on both the players and the management to make this strategy work, even as the fanbase grows increasingly anxious about the lack of reinforcements.